here, and you take training, and you develop skills. You develop skills on how to do things that can really hurt people, maybe even kill people. And the higher level black belt, the more dangerous you are. The thing that a good black belt teacher will teach somebody is how to control their emotions while they're getting all these skills. So if you ever meet a real true black belt that's had a lot of training, is really good, if you're in a bar or something or somewhere where there's a scuffle and somebody's trying to fight with him, he'll do everything he can to talk them out of that. He'll back up and he'll try to keep from getting in that fight. Now if he can't do it and somebody puts a hurt on him, look out. Then he uses his skills. And I think that's a good way for me right now, because I've spent a lot of time getting to be a good roper, riding bucking horses. I want my horses to work real nice. And now at my stage in life, now I still have those skills. They might not be as sharp as they were once. But what it really makes me feel good now is never have to use those skills. And that's really nice for me. So that's where I think we need to try to go with this thing. So hopefully some are trying to learn and get better. Okay. Okay, so again, the main thing I want to talk about today out here is just some different ideas I have on handling cattle. And you guys can sneak on in here. You can even get on a fence or whatever. The different ideas. And if you ever think about, here's the way I look at auction market. How many of you ever seen team penning? Cow team penning. It can be one of the sorriest sights you've ever seen. And I always made fun of team penners. I mean, I've made fun of team penners all my life. Well, not all my life, since I've been watching them. And you can see some of the sorriest horsemanship and some of the sorriest cattle handling, and people just embarrass themselves. So I thought team penning, I always said team penning was bad. And then I went to Edmonton to Farm Fest or whatever, where the finals are. And I did a demonstration up there, and I watched, they had the Canadian Championship team penning. And I watched those guys, and the ones that were the tops, the top 5 teams or whatever, they hit cattle hard, they went fast, and they consistently penned cattle in under 30 seconds. Time and time and time again. That's what I think we got, the same mentality we have when working the auction market. You can't do the same thing, team penning, that you do at home at the ranch to get cattle in the corral or in the pen, because you're going to lose. But the really good ones, they hit cattle, they put a lot of pressure on at the right place at the right time, and they don't take it off. And that's the way I look at the auction market. We got to put a lot of pressure on and get them across that scale. Now, some team penners, they use a little bit of noise, they slap their legs, they do some of those things, and they yell and scream quite a bit. Sometimes in these alleys, in these auction rings, auction markets, we got to use some noise. Out on the ranch or in the feed yard or whatever, I try to recommend people don't use much noise. Noise panics cattle. Startling noises panic cattle. I like noises like, I call it the rattlesnake sound or something. That gets cattle to move away from you, but they don't panic. When cattle panic, they don't think. And when you hurry cattle too much and you do too much, what did you walk into out here? Sorry. When cattle panic, or they get confused, they get mad, just like people. They either balk. When they get confused, they balk or they get on the fight. And so the thing is, when these cattle come in, we got to do things and try not to panic them. But if you hit them at the right place at the right time, you can put a lot of pressure on these cattle and they'll go, as long as they have somewhere to go. One of the big things I think most employees do, or a lot of people that work livestock, they put too much pressure on at the wrong time. And what I think a lot of times happens, more than not, they don't put enough pressure on. So I recommend people learning how to put more pressure on when they're working cattle in the livestock auction. More pressure at the right time. What usually happens, we put too little pressure on, the animal turns around and faces us, and then they either run over us, or we got to put so much pressure to get them to turn around and go back the other way. So when everybody hears about the low-stress livestock handling, they think, oh, this guy's going to tell us not to do this. But you can't put pressure on at the right time unless you have confidence. You got to have confidence, and you got to know what to do. And so somebody that's never worked cattle before, they don't have the confidence, and they're always doing the right thing at the wrong time or the wrong thing at the right time. It just doesn't work out. So we got to get them confidence and step in. The thing that most people need to learn to do when they're working cattle is this right here. You need to step in, and if you're wrong, step back out. Change your position and step in again. That's real hard for humans to do. And that's really a tough thing, to step back and start over again. A guy that came to a demonstration the other day from Arkansas, he says, he heard an old timer one time says, to be a good stockman, you got to know when to step up, step back, speak up, shut up. If you can do those 4 things, you can handle cattle. Step up, step back, speak up, shut up. Pretty simple. So, we got noise. Noise can be okay. Real loud, sharp, scary noises, that's not too good. The other thing it does, if you put a lot of noise in, it draws attention to you. And if somebody out here is watching and you use a lot of noise, you might cause people to look where they shouldn't be looking. So keep noise to a minimum. We already talked a little bit about weapons or handling aids. And the less we use them, the better off we are. The tighter we go, tighter spots we get into, the more we might have to use an aid, like a sword stick, a rattle paddle. And I believe hot shots are a very, very humane tool, used properly. I'd much rather see somebody touch an animal with a hot shot once and take it off than sit there and beat on them with a stick for 15 minutes and never have it work anyway. I think hot shots are great. Here's what I think hot shots should do. And some of the old ones did. They should just shock from both ends. Think about that. You'd really want that thing to work when you put it on there and push that button, because you're going to get a shock too. So the main way we communicate with animals is through vision. That with the way they see us and the way they think where we're at and where we're going. When in our minds, we think of cattle seeing just the way we do, and that's not right. If you look at one of these mirrors, I got this, I don't want to shine it in somebody's eyes, but if you look at this mirror here, this is a lot like a cow in the way she sees. When I look at this mirror, when it's pointed straight at me, I can focus and I can read, I can see the microphone, I can see what's happening here. The farther I turn it away, the less focus it gets. It gets kind of blurry. And I can just see movement. And so that's how cattle are. This eye is out at the side of their head, and they can see us, but the farther we are forward on that eye, the more focus we get. The farther back here, they can't see us, and what it causes them to do, if they're real wild and scared, they run away from us. They want to get far enough where they can stop and turn their head and look at us. If they're real gentle, they just stop and wait for us to catch up. That's why it's sometimes more difficult in this situation to work gentle cattle than it is wild cattle, because they just balk on you. And then you got to go to doing a lot, try to get them to the ring. So understanding how that eye works. So what we got to do, and here's what happens when we get in behind cattle, what they want to do is turn and look at us. They want to at least be able to see us. Even if we can't focus, they want to know where we're at. And so if we're working in an alley, what do we always do? We get right down behind these cattle in the middle of the alley and we send them up the alley. Well, if you think about that, that's actually causing the animals to stop, because they're looking for you. And like a real exotic calf, they can turn their head quite a bit and keep running. A fat steer, a British breed, a fat steer, they turn their head and they're going to stop or change direction. So just by how we position ourselves behind those cattle can have a big effect. And this is the thing I think we all have trouble with. Humans, in the human world, we have to today we did the same thing. All day long we've been living in a human world. So when I wanted to come to this place this morning, we got in the car